sure that we'll have more comments later on. But we must move on to the next presenter now. So if you'd like to stop sharing your screen, thank you so much. That was brilliant. We have Dibyajit now Mukherjee from Prabhat Kumar College in India. I'm going to share my screen with his presentation, and then we'll get started. His presentation is entitled Commoditizing Femininity and Toxification of Masculinity in Indian Films. I'll just get it on full screen, and whenever you're ready, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, am I audible?
You are, yeah, perfect.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored and privileged to be here. This is the third time that I'm presenting a paper at the LCIR and feel very glad to be back. So if we could just go to the next slide, I would, I would like to begin my paper by a reference to a line from the film Pirates of the Caribbean, The Black Pearl, to establish the perspective of the socio-political scenario of men and women struggling with the hermeneutic codes that have been set up by a patriarchal discourse within the boundaries of capitalism. Here we see that Elizabeth Swann has been kidnapped by the pirates, and in an attempt to break free from the shackles of imprisonment, she makes a spontaneous attack on Captain Barbossa by thrusting a knife in his heart. As a reaction, Barbossa explains how he cannot die by explaining the curse of the Black Pearl, and also states how the light of the moon shows the true skeleton inside, almost resembling the picture of Dorian Gray. Finally, the scene ends with Barbossa telling Miss Swann that she should start believing in ghost stories because she is in one. The plight of the woman living within the economic structure of capitalism faces a similar situation like that of Elizabeth Swann, and the total commoditization of women makes her realize that she is indeed a character in a ghost story. In fact, Arundhati Roy, a political activist, has written a book which goes by the name Capitalism, a Ghost Story. Now, therefore, let me just show the connection between capitalism and commoditization very briefly. In a capitalist society, products are manufactured mostly for sale. A product manufactured for sale or for exchange is called a commodity, but it became dominant. Commodity production only became dominant under capitalism. Capitalist enterprises produce their entire output for sale. As capitalism develops, small producers sell an ever increasing share of their output on the market. Almost all means of production and articles of consumption are bought and sold under capitalism. Toril Moy, in her research paper Feminist Female Feminine, had noted that femininity is a cultural construct. One isn't born a woman, one becomes one, as Simone de Beauvoir puts it. Seen in this perspective, patriarchal oppression consists of imposing certain social standards of femininity on all biological women in order precisely to make us believe that the chosen standards for femininity are natural. Thus, a woman who refuses to conform can be labeled as both unfeminine and unnatural. This imposition can be seen in Indian films where a specific narrative in the form of an item number, which you can see on the screen, is projected for commercial profit. Indian films have a tradition of commoditizing women and at the same time toxifying the role of masculinity. Through the hero heroine binary, Indian films often show the woman as a Foucauldian docile body, dependent on the hero's aggression to be either saved from harassment or is sexually commoditized through the concept of this item number. Apart from this, there is a good girl, bad girl narrative which is systematically proliferated, often through the process termed as deification. Good girl here would refer to biological women who conform to these patriarchal rules, while bad girl or not a girl would refer to biological women who do not conform. For example, in the 1998 film named Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, directed by Mr. Karan Johar, starring Shah Rukh Khan, Kajol, and Rani Mukherjee, we see that when the character named Anjali, enacted by Kajol, has short hair, plays excellent basketball, and defeats Rahul, enacted by Shah Rukh Khan, the latter, after losing the game, says, Tum to ladki ho hi nahi, which in English means, you are not a girl. The same Anjali, when decks herself up, wears a sari, and has long hair, becomes the epitome of beauty for Rahul, and now he wants to marry her. Many examples exist, on the other hand, of men being promoted as emotionless, indulging in extreme violence without showing any pain. Most of the films disseminate a heteronormative structure and are also seen to vilify homosexual men. The commoditizing of women can be linked to the increase of rapes in the nation. According to a report by the National Crime Records Bureau of India, the year 2022 recorded over 31,000 rapes, and 2023 saw a 4% increase. Hence, it is discernible that there is a politics of othering inherent in Indian films with respect to the depiction of masculinity and femininity. These are all social problems which India have, and this links to the inherent contradictions also inside a capitalist framework, which in India is further complicated with the caste or the politics of othering as seen in the narrative of the Chaturvarna Ashram. Activist and writer Mr. Kancha Ilaya says, if you look at the roots of rape in India, they go to the Vedic texts where the divine figures attack women, rape women, and at the same time treat them as untouchables. Now, Gene Kilburn, scripter of Killing Us Softly, argues that the superficial, objectifying, and unreal portrayal of women in films and advertising lowers women's self esteem. Sexualized images of women are being used to sell virtually all kinds of goods, and Kilburn argues that they degrade women, encourage abuse, and reinforce the patriarchal sexist society. Now, if you look at this slide very carefully, we will see that this slide depicts this item number, which is a dance or being performed. It's a dance performance to the song Fevicol Se from part 2 of the film named Dabang. And Dabang in English means macho or aggressively masculine. And this song contains the lines "मैं तंदूरी मुर्गी हूँ आ गट खा ले मुझे alcohol से." In English, this translates as "I am a roasted chicken, come and eat me with alcohol." It is clearly evident from the lines that a woman is referring to herself as an edible product and instigating men to eat her, and that too with alcohol. But is she really saying it? Or is she being made to sing these contemptuous lines? The answer is the latter, and she is being represented as an eye candy for the lascivious male gaze. Isn't this the reason why Sigmund Freud, in his 3 essays on sexuality, specifically categorized scopophilia or voyeurism as people taking other people as objects, subjecting them to a controlling gaze? In the case for Indian films, Freud's notion of other people refer to women being commoditized as items. Laura Mulvey, in her paper Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, notes women are simultaneously looked at and displayed with their appearance coded for strong visual and erotic impact so that they can be said to connote to be looked atness. Women displayed as a sexual object is the leitmotif of erotic spectacle. In the next slide, we will see a clipping from part 1 of the film Dabang, and the song is titled Munni Badnaam Hui. Now, Munni is a common name used for children who are girls. Badnaam means infamous. So, direct translation would mean that a girl child has been made infamous. The word aam has been used as a pun, which means both mango and ordinary, thus again making the woman sell as a commodity for visual pleasure. In the next slide, we can see clippings from 2 movies placed side by side. If we can go on, yes, thank you. Uh, Side by side, we will see on the left an item number from a Bangla movie named Fande Poriya Boga Kandere, which in English means poor old boy caught in a trap. And on the right, we can perceive a scene from a Hindi movie named Luka Chupi, which means hide and seek. Now, if we look on the left hand side, this Bengali movie, in the Bangla film, the male character is singing to the woman, "যতই বল তুই আমায় বোকা ভোলা, কাল হবি তুই আমার কোকা-কোলা." Now in English this translates as, "You may call me a foolish boy, but tomorrow I will make you my Coca-Cola." The stress should be made on "I will make you," which clearly shows a patriarchal construction of the woman as Coke. A similar concept can be seen in the song Coca-Cola 2 on the right hand side. The lyrics of this song are, "तेरे जैसी ब्यूटी किसी की भी नहीं होनी, ठंडे की बोतल मैं तेरा ओपनर, तुझे गट गट मैं पी लूं कोका कोला 2." In English, this translates as, I have never seen a beautiful woman like you. You're a chilled bottle. I'm your opener, and I'll drink you up as you are my Coca Cola. However, as the song proceeds, the woman protests and exclaims, "ना समझ तू कोका कोला, मैं तो विस्की दी बोतल, मेरा एक सिप ही काफी होने दो नशा टोटल, चखना मना है, रुकना मना है, मुझे पीले जरा आ तू." This in English translates as, "Don't think me of a Coca Cola. I am a bottle of whiskey. One sip of me is enough to make you get addicted. Don't taste me, but just drink me." This is even worse and adds insult to the injury or to the it adds insult to the already injured status of a woman. If we can go on to the next slide, we will see this depicts the political economy of commoditization, where it is seen how a poverty stricken woman named Vijay Lakshmi was renamed as silk, which is a commodity used in the garment industry, to eventually become a docile body under the patriarchal male gaze. The film portrays the exploitation of a woman having weak financial support by men who project her body to lure in audiences. If we can go on to the next slide, we will see that here is a poster of the film named Great Grand Masti, which again shows the half nude body of a woman alongside other edible commodities. The next slide, in the next slide, we will see characters from a movie named Animal. Now, the character on the left, enacted by Bobby Deol, is named Abrar Haq and is seen sexually exploiting his three wives and openly murdering anyone who comes in between him and his expectations. And the audience cheers him up, and the fictional characters in the movie also support this idea. And on the right hand side, we see the actor Ranbir Kapoor plays the role of a character named Ranvijay Singh, who is here playing the son of a capitalist who becomes animal like due to the lack of his father's attention. Now, this character goes to all lengths and breadths to protect the life and dignity of his nom du père and is overtly seen to use misogynist slurs. There is a scene where he asks a woman to lick his boots in order to show her loyalty. Hence, I have called it the magnum opus of toxicity. Similar brands of toxic personalities can be exemplified in the character of Rocky in the film KGF 2. If we go on to the next slide. Now, here it depicts the character named Rocky, and there is one scene where he's seen to utter that I don't like violence, but violence likes me, thus normalizing the equation between toxicity and men. He too, in one of the scenes, is seen to kidnap or abduct a woman, and when the latter asks that why have I been kidnapped, he replies that I have kidnapped you as you are my entertainment, and hence you are my cat. Now, in the next slide, we can see that all the male characters from the movies KGF, which is a short form of Kolar Goldfields, KGF, then Kabir Singh in the middle, and Animal, all of them smoke cigarettes and have alcohol to promote their manliness. It is as if a man who does not drink alcohol and smoke is not a complete man. Hence, physical toxicity is also an important aspect about the objectification of men. These narratives of films, which are extremely popular, can promote the idea that women are objects or commodities for pleasure. Hence, sexual molestations and violence of women have increased in India. In 2024, a doctor was gang raped at the Radha Govinda Kaur Hospital in Calcutta while she was on duty. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, India records 86 rapes daily, which is appalling. Advocate Audrey de Mello has said in an interview to the newspaper Deccan Herald that no man on his first attempt goes and rapes somebody. They start with smaller incidents like sexual harassment, teasing, molesting, and then their confidence gets built as society and police don't take these cases seriously. Even if one goes on to report them, they usually don't get the support because these are considered to be small incidents. commoditization of women, and toxification of men, as exemplified above, are hence can be called the stepping stones which promote the idea of rape, and hence these films, in order to pursue commercial profit, are also acting as agents of dehumanization. This is what I had to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, really, really powerful talk, and it's just so interesting to kind of contextualize the fact that objectification of women and toxification of men, unfortunately, is not just a Hollywood problem, it's worldwide. And thank you so much for the examples that you brought from the Indian context. I really look forward to discussing your work later on during the Q&A, but we are going to move on now to Ivy Liette Ventura Kessel from the University of